what you'll achieve are all going to be based on what you read and what you don't, who you keep in your life, and those you let go. In the words of the author, Charlie T. Jones, you'll be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read. To leave chapters of this audiobook unlistened will increase the chances that you'll leave chapters of your life unlived, and without being unlocked, your potential could be limited, your growth stunted, and your self-worth and everyday happiness could suffer. This is not just an audiobook that you plan to listen to, or a collation of motivating quotes or parables to live by. This is a lens through which to view the world, so that you can clearly see your underlying potential in the context of a spectrum that you couldn't see clearly before. I am not your life coach. I am here, however, with one sole purpose. That is to change your life. So let's begin. Introduction. What if I told you that by the time you finish this book, perhaps nothing will have changed? Pretty uninspiring, right? You may be a few days older, maybe a few weeks. I don't know your reading speed or commitment to what I have to say. But ultimately, things will be the same. Your phone will lose reception where it usually does. You'll still be daydreaming about that item of clothing you've been thinking about buying for the last few weeks. And I expect you'll probably be using the same tube of toothpaste you are right now when you get to the end of this book. Riveting already, isn't it? On a physical basis, you'll weigh about the same and have the same hairstyle. You'll also probably have the same job and day-to-day routine. And that very individual way you dry yourself with a towel when you get out the shower, all unchanged. However, these are not the metrics by which I want you to understand change if you commit to listening to this audiobook. The changes I'm talking about could be so significant you won't recognize the person you were just a short time ago. Not necessarily from the outside, maybe not even in the eyes of close family and friends, but significantly in how you begin to realize and perceive certain things about your life. Stop. Take a look around, and you'll see everyone is climbing the ladder of life to see who can get to the highest rung. However, I don't see many people taking a moment to really think whether or not they're climbing the right ladder. It doesn't matter how high you climb it, if when you get to the top, you realize you've climbed the wrong one. It doesn't matter how fast you're going if you're not going in the right direction. But if everyone else is doing it, how come I'm telling you you're wrong to do the same? Let's flip that for a second. Am I saying you're wrong with your choices, or am I alluding to the fact your choices aren't 100% right? And when I say right, I mean that if we were to sit down and look at what you want to do with your life and what you're currently doing with it, I think we could find some pretty blatant discrepancies. You'd probably offer excuses like, now isn't a good time, or if I had more financial freedom. But I'm afraid the universe will not align with you, and the seas will not part to create an easy path for you. That's life. I've often said, if 1 million people believe something stupid, it's still stupid. Humans are brilliant at telling themselves stories, like the elaborate ones about what happens when we die. Some people are more concerned with the afterlife than their existing one. That's not a dig at religion, but an example to consider in the wider context. If someone wanted you to buy shares, you'd want something tangible to back up their claims, wouldn't you? Just because someone else believes in it doesn't mean you should as well. I know what you're thinking. We're only human, right? Well, what does that even mean? Let's look at what being human is, because if there's one thing you need to know about human beings, it's that we're inherently dishonest. We lie, and we can't help it. And this isn't exclusive to just us Homo sapiens either. If we were to look across the animal kingdom, we can see it's prevalent amongst primates and all kinds of other species that barely resemble humans at all. Not telling the truth isn't always a bad thing, though. Consider a knife. Say it's really what you choose to do with it that determines whether you have good or bad intentions. You could harm someone, or you could just butter their toast. Well, it's the same with a lie. And the reason I even mention this so early on in the book is this. You're feeding yourself lies, the harmful kind, on an ongoing basis. And that's not even the worst part of it either. Want to know what's worse? You're believing them and therefore unaware of the harm they're causing.